Welcome to Black CNN. I'm your host, Anthony Wright. Is there a white supremacy rally coming to your city? Do you want to be prepared? Then look no further. This episode is brought to you by the NAACP MMA Gym, where they teach civil rights, lefts, and uppercuts. Police say a man offered donuts as a bribe to let him go. So please be on the lookout for the criminal. Long Island, New York is freaking out about its new crack pipe vending machines. The worst thing about this is when the crack pipe gets stuck halfway and you have to shake it. The machine sells $2 crack pipes. County officials say they receive complaints from residents about how expensive they are. Stormy Daniels will release a tell-all book called Full Disclosure before the midterm elections. I just hope this isn't a pop-up book. The chapter named Climax was not included in the book. NRA TV depicts Thomas and Friends characters as KKK members. NRA spokeswoman Dana Loesch said, "Am I to understand this entire time that Thomas and his trains were white? That would explain why they've never been pulled over by the cops." An Amazon executive admits a patent to cage workers was a bad idea. Silly rabbit. According to Trump, cages are for kids. Trump says Hurricane Florence will be tremendously big and tremendously wet. This is what happens when the president watches Pornhub before a speech. Listen, he basically told us what we already know. But I'd like to hear Trump's obvious weather analysis on different storms, like tornadoes, for example. As a matter of fact, let's see how it would sound with the help of our weatherman, Chester. Take it away, Chester. Thank you, Anthony Wright. Yes, I am Chester, and I am here live in a town with no black people to tell you about tornadoes. So if you can see here, this is what we call a tornado. Now the thing about tornadoes use a tool called wind. Yes, they use wind. W-I-N-D. And a tornado is tremendously windy. Yes. And as you can see, it's spinning around. So the wind is throwing it in a circle, like a stripper. Throwing it in a circle. That's what it's doing. And tornadoes blow everything around it. Everything. Houses, cars, cows without their consent. Just everything. Just everything. It's a horrible sight here, Anthony Wright. I'm glad I'm a safe distance away. The other important thing to know about this, I consulted a weather expert and rapper by the name of Twista. He advises that if you see a tornado, you seek shelter immediately. That's all I have here for this report. Take it away, Anthony Wright. Thank you, Chester. Now, Hurricane Florence is moving slowly, but wreaking havoc, like an elderly man that just ate baked beans and farted. While Hurricane Florence has been downgraded to a Category 2 storm, it is still considered extremely dangerous and life-threatening. So please be safe in Virginia and in North and South Carolina. And on top of that, Trump said, I think Puerto Rico relief was incredibly successful. I actually think it was one of the best jobs that's ever been done. It wasn't. And there was a death toll of nearly 3,000 people, which he believes was only about 64. But we do have some good news. We have a new nominee for Miss Minnie's Pie Contest. And the winner is Fox News for making a smear campaign against Botham Jean, who was murdered by a police officer. So let's award Fox News their chocolate pie. You deserve it. And here's a quick message from Minnie. So to give you the backstory, a Dallas police officer named Amber Guyer, who was off duty, was going home. Strangely, she went to the wrong apartment. 2 witnesses heard her scream, "Let me in," at the front of the door. When Botham opened the door, she thought it was her apartment and that he was intruding, so she drew her weapon and killed him. Now we have this article saying police seized marijuana from his apartment that was released on the same day of his funeral. That's pure evil. This is an attempt to criminalize a victim. Blood was taken from Guyer to test for drugs and alcohol, but the results have not been made public yet. That must be very convenient for the police, right? Now, normally I'd say I'll have more as the story unfolds, but we know how these stories end. Until next time, I'm Anthony Wright. Good night.